Hey everybody, Paul here with the Spirits channel. In this video I want to talk a little bit about the last video I uploaded entitled Is Extraterrestrial Contact Possible Through ITC Methods? And I want to talk about why this particular session was absolutely mind-blowing to me. This is the next day after the session. I did it last night. That was Friday night, so this is Saturday afternoon. And I'll tell you, I went to bed last night with a whole different look and appreciation for reality. What is reality? And I woke up with that same feeling, just the world as we know it is not the world as it is. And I want to explain again why that is in this video. I think to start off, I would have to mention, and some of you probably heard me talk about this in my videos past, that in 1979, when I was only 12 years old, it was November of 1979, I basically had an angelic encounter, and that encounter reoccurred in my life at different times over the years. And this, I'm not going to go into a whole, a lot of detail about that here in this video. Just suffice to say, when it began and throughout that encounter, there were always lights in the sky. Some instance where there were lights in the sky, or what we would call UFOs. Now, I didn't know what this whole encounter was back then. I pretty much thought maybe it was an alien, maybe it was a demon. I didn't know what I was really dealing with until later on. And there were reasons for that, why it was left to be a mystery in my life for a period of time. But as I got older, I really started to have this notion that some of the lights we see in the sky are not little green men. They're not men from Mars. They're not aliens. They're not extraterrestrial, but rather they are angelic in nature. And I've ran across other people who, thought the same thing. And that's a thought that's kind of catching on more in the modern day. And, this was what, 1979 was 46 years ago that this happened. So last November, so remember this happened November 1979 when it all began. So last November, it was the 45th, anniversary of this occurrence in my life. And I wanted to go out and do some sky watching. But I couldn't do it on the 15th because it was my sister-in-law's birthday and she had come up with her son, and we celebrated her birthday. So I went out on November 16th and I went down to the park that's in the video. It's really dark and I kind of get a little, creeped out there once in a while. There's just a weird feeling in that park. But I went to that park last November on the 16th, and I said a prayer, and then I said, if my guardian angel is, still around, which obviously she is, could we maybe commemorate the 45th anniversary, and you could show me some lights in the sky. So long story short, I ended up going up to those office buildings where I shot the video last night in the previous video. And I was sitting there, and pretty much what I was doing is I was just kind of praying and asking my guardian angel if we could, she could maybe show me some lights in the sky, show me she's still around. It's been a while. I haven't had any real occurrences since 2003. And then suddenly I looked up into the sky where I showed in the video last night, and there was a single star off to the left. And next to that star, three lights lit up in a sideways triangular kind of one, two, three, a sideways triangular formation, and they just hovered there. They didn't move, they didn't fly, they didn't blink. They were just there for about 30, 40 seconds and then just slowly began to fade out. They didn't fly away, they didn't move in any way, they just slowly faded out. So I was excited about this, and I said to myself, wow, was that, a sign from my guardian angel that I actually saw lights in the sky? So I went out the next night. I was so enthused. I was like, I'm going to go out again and see if this can be a repeat performance. So I went out the following night, followed the same steps, went to the park, prayed, asked, went to the office buildings, overlooking the horizon, prayed, asked, if my guardian angel could show me lights in the sky, but nothing happened. But then when I got home and I pulled into the driveway and got out of the car, right over the backyard were these two big bright lights. And I glanced up at them, and then I kind of looked away, getting my gear out of the car. And I said, well, wait a minute, I've been out here at night a lot. I don't ever remember those two big bright stars. So I looked up again, and there they were, very bright. And I'm thinking, are they stars? Are they airplanes? What is that? And they proceeded to grow even brighter. They didn't fly, they didn't blink, they didn't move, they just got brighter, very bright white, and then slowly faded out. So again, I said, wow, is this, my guardian angel, giving me a sign 2 nights in a row? This is awesome. So long story short, fast forward to last night's uh, session. When I asked, I didn't say a word. You heard the whole session. I didn't ask about angels. I didn't ask about my guardian angel. I simply asked with this Spirit Box app on, what were those lights? Who was it? So imagine, my surprise when it said it was an angel. The name Sarah kept coming through, which is the name of my guardian angel, Sarah, Sara. The one part in the session when I asked what the lights in the backyard were, and the male voice said, don't you know? And then the female voice kind of shouts out, it was Sarah. This absolutely, folks, blew my mind. I mean, how is something like that even possible? That I did not mention guardian angels, I did not mention Sarah, I did not mention why I went out last November to watch the sky and what I had done. And all this comes through this ITC Spirit Box app. I mean, not only to me is this unexplainable, but 46 years that 46 years ago that I had this angelic encounter and witnessed things, orbs, music playing out of nowhere, lights in the sky, and not only myself, but in the presence of other people, family members, friends, acquaintances who heard and saw these things as well. But yet, all this time later, I'll still sit there when I think about it and go, was that real? Did this really happen? Was this really an angel? I mean, it's so bizarre. To have that name, to have that come through. It was an angel in the session last night. I mean, talk about validity. Talk about, you know, giving the experience a dose of reality out of the blue. This is coming through a Spirit Box app of all things. And this is why that session just absolutely dropped my jaw to the floor. I mean, I'm still picking it up. I almost can't wrap my mind, around what happened. It's just amazing, incredible, a blessing. I'm also very curious if you notice in the last 4 or 5 sessions or so, ever since I did the Spirit Box session in the graveyard about 2 weeks ago, it keeps coming up in every session about the prophet and the prophecy. And I think it even said something in last night's session about the prophecy. Protect the prophet. Who are they talking? Are they talking about me? Are they calling me a prophet somehow? What is the prophecy? I have no idea. This is something I want to delve into in a session because it keeps repeating itself. As well as, if you'll notice, quite often the name Sarah is coming through in my sessions. I have no idea what this all means, but I will say this, in all honesty, from the heart. I feel like the world is in a very bad place, and it could very potentially get worse. And I'm sure I don't have to tell many of you that. We look around, we watch the news, we see how people are acting, we see how governments are acting. It's like we're going off the rails with just immorality and bad decisions. And I really think that if things get really bad and we're going into World War III, somebody's going to show up. Whether that's angels accompanied with higher civilizations that live closer to the love and the light and the truth of God, because I do believe there are advanced civilizations out there, not, of course, technologically advanced, but spiritually advanced. They're so far beyond where we are. And I don't know whether these angels and these beings are just going to stop the insanity in our world and help us make a better world, whether they're going to take some of us out of here. There's been a lot of people over the years talking about these UFOs, or angels coming, or dimensions opening, and certain people leaving this earth when a time of cataclysm comes. The Christians talk about a rapture. That this isn't anything that's new in spirituality. So I don't know if something like that's going to happen, and then we come back later and finally establish this earth in a time of truth and light and peace. I don't know, but I feel like somebody's paused at the door. Something's going on, and I wouldn't say this lightly. I'm not into like religious fanaticism or nut job religion or nut job spirituality. There's a lot of, if I may be blunt, there's a lot of crazy shit on the internet with people saying outlandish things. But I'm just going by what I've experienced in my life, what I'm experiencing now through these sessions, uh, what I'm feeling. The world energy doesn't feel good to me. So I think we could possibly be on the cusp of something if we don't turn this ship around and start doing better as a species, as people, as human beings, as brothers and sisters, and stop the division, stop the hate, stop the war, stop the greed. Um, I don't even know why I'm saying all this in the video. I was just talking to my wife about it a little while ago, and it's just, on my mind, weighing on my soul. I feel like, especially after that last session, somebody's waiting at the door to say, okay, we're ready to take action if need be. So yeah, this is mind blowing. The things that came through that session were absolutely mind blowing. I have no explanation. Um, like I said, I can't even really grasp the reality of the fact that this Spirit Box app, on my friggin' phone, when I ask about the lights in the sky last November, just starts spewing angels. Sarah, she loves you. She's with you. Sarah, Sarah. I mean, that's just, yeah. I just goosebumps thinking about it because it's just beyond crazy in a good way. But I wanted to explain all of this to you who watch my channel. I wanted to share my thoughts about this, why I think some of this is really ramping up. Um, the spiritual energy is getting strong on this earth. I mean, there's a few people that I watch, honest ITC researchers, and they're experiencing things. The energy seems to be getting stronger, around them and in their homes. So I feel like something's definitely on the horizon, possibly. So uh, as I say every now and then, just be good to one another, treat one another well, walk in love and light. Just be decent human beings and good souls, because this is some crazy ramped up stuff. And yeah, like I told my wife, I got a lot of crazy things to ponder right now after that. It's definitely peculiar. Uh, Again, in a good way, definitely not negative. But I'll definitely be doing, I think, more sessions with angels, extraterrestrials, as well as spirit contact. Um, because I think we're on the cusp of something here. I really do. So I hope you'll all stay tuned, and who knows where the next session and the next adventure takes us, but I'm open and I'm ready. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.